Alright, in this video we're going to be finding the slope of a line just from the coordinates of 2 points on the line. Okay? Here's how this works. Here, we're going to imagine that we're traveling in this direction from the point 41 to the point 74. And this is our x-coordinate and our y-coordinate. And this is our x-coordinate, and there's our y-coordinate for the second point. Now our change in x, we went from 4 to 7. So our delta x is 4, 5, 6, 7. Our delta x is 3. And our change in y went from 1 to 4. So our change in y is 1, 2, 3, 4, also 3. So our slope, delta y over delta x, is 3 over 3, which is just 1. Okay? So pretty straightforward when the numbers are small, or not fractions or decimals or anything like that. If these are crazy numbers, I'd have a little more difficulty figuring them out. But there's a trick here. And so this one, where they are a little bit more difficult, negatives and so on. What we do is we calculate our change in x as the x from one point minus the x from the other. And we usually would go end minus beginning. The end coordinate minus the beginning coordinate. Okay? So here it's negative 11 minus negative 16, which you can use a calculator for that, or you could just know that it's 5. And our change in y is 14 minus negative 19, which is same as 14 plus 19, and that is 33. So our change in y, we don't need this, hold on, blocking our view, over our change in x is 33 over 5. If you look over here, we could have done the same thing over here. I could have gone 7 minus 4 is 3, and 4 minus 1 is also 3. So both of those, that would have worked here as well. Just so simple here, we didn't need to. Let's take a look at another one. Scooch down here. Okay. Our change in y is, let's see, let's go in this direction this time. Okay. Negative 7, that's the end, minus negative 15, that's the beginning. So negative 7 plus 15 is 8. And our change in x is, let's see, 2 minus 7, which is negative 5. So our change in y over our change in x is 8 over negative 5. We don't like to keep that negative down there in the denominator, so we're just going to make it negative 8/5. Now some people use a little bit of a shortcut here, which is perfectly alright. I'll show you that. They just go, they call this x1 and y1, and x2 and y2, and they just start out with this fraction here. So instead of, they start out with the change in x over the change in y. Let's start with that whole fraction, and I'm going to go negative 16 minus 7. Those are my two y coordinates up top, and down below I'm going to put 15 minus 20. Those are my two x coordinates. So I'll see negative 16 minus 7 is negative 23. 15 minus 20 is negative 5. The two negatives cancel each other out, and we get 23 over 5. Okay. Another way, so there's like if you want to write that as a formula, you'd say y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. And so you go x1, y1, x2, y2, and then we just fill in the blanks, and we end up with 9 minus 9 over negative 15 minus 2 9 minus 9 is 0. Negative 15 minus 2 is negative 17. But anything, 0 over anything, is always 0. And that's an example of a perfectly horizontal line. If you look here, they went from a y-coordinate of 9 to a y-coordinate of 9. It didn't go up, didn't go down. It's perfectly flat. All right. Sometimes people write the formula a little bit differently. They'll write maybe y sub a minus y sub b over xa sub a minus x sub b, and then they'll just call this xa, ya, xb, yb. 1, 2, ab, doesn't matter, it's all the same. And it doesn't matter which point you pick as the first point or the second point or the A point or the B point, as long as you're consistent with it. So I go y sub a up top, that'd be the 3, minus negative 11 over x sub a is 12, and x sub b is negative 6. Now the only way you could screw this up is if you picked your x sub a from this point and your maybe your y sub a from this point. You got to go in the same direction. Same point as the A point for top and bottom. Same point as the B point for top and bottom. Okay? So 3 minus negative 11 is 14. Let's see, 12 minus negative 6 is 18. And this simplifies to 7 over 9. Okay? So let's look at a few more. Let's see, we've got, so I've got x sub a, y sub b, a, xb, yb. So let's see, we've got 18 minus 2 over negative 13 minus 17. That's 16 over, negative 13 minus 17 is negative 30. Let's see, this would simplify to, let's say, divide both by 2, and that would be 8 over 15. And that negative sign down here, I'm just going to kind of move it up in the middle of the fraction. Okay. Over here, I'll go x sub 1 and y sub 1, x2, y2, and then we'll see, we'll go 10 minus 13 over 16 minus negative 8. 10 minus 13 is negative 3. 16 plus 8 is 24. And negative 3 over 24 is the same as negative 1 over 8. Okay, good. Let's see here. Let's see, let's just go, I'll circle the y coordinates. I'm going to go 16 minus 8 over negative 20 minus negative 16. So 16 minus 8 is negative 8. Negative 20 plus a 16 would be negative 4. The two negatives are going to cancel each other out, and 8 divided by 4 is just 2. Okay. Next door here. Just going to kind of circle my y coordinates. I'm going to go negative 3 minus negative 9. Since I started with the negative 3 here, I have to start with the negative 13 here, minus negative 2. Negative 3 plus 9 is 6. Negative 13 plus 2 is negative 11. I'm just going to bring that negative sign up in front of the fraction. Good form. Negative 6 over 11. Alright, here, let's see, I'm just going to, I'll circle my x coordinates. I'm only doing this to like just keep them separate here. So I've got negative 12 minus 5. Since I put the negative 12 first, it's 6 minus 9. 6 minus 9 is negative 3. Negative 12 minus 5 is negative 17. The negatives cancel each other out, and I get 3/17. And then here, alright, I've got negative 20 minus negative 11. And we've got 7 minus 15. Negative 20 plus 11 is negative 9, and 7 minus 15 is negative 8, and two negatives will cancel each other out, and you end up with 9 over 8. One thing to watch out for when you're doing these, make sure that when you're subtracting, you're going to be subtracting negatives a lot. Pay attention, that you're either using your calculator correctly and punching it in as negative 20 minus, and then use that negative sign on your calculator. Okay, and you're also going to want to watch out for anytime you end up with a 0. So if you have the same x-coordinate for both points, that means that you're traveling from one point to the other. You didn't move left or right at all. You just went straight up. And in that case, you have a perfectly vertical line. Sometimes people make the mistake of thinking that's a 0 slope. But remember, 0 slope is a horizontal line. When you got that perfectly vertical line, that means it's an undefined slope. If you try and punch into your calculator something like, 5 divided by 0, it'll give you an error message because it can't do that. That's why it's called undefined. Okay? So keep an eye out for that. If you get a 0 down in the denominator, it's undefined, not 0. Okay? All right, there you go.